stop, stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who throws hits around?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to tune in to watch the live stream on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Thank you to everybody in our tribe and our community that has subscribed. If you like the content we're producing here, we need you. We want you. Please click on the subscribe link. Follow Wind Down with Kev on YouTube. And a big thank you to our sponsors, Carol Media and Canopy Connect. Talk to them for all of your digital and social needs. We could not do it without you, and we could not do it without them. That being said, today, 50 podcasts, 50 agents, 50 states. Today, we are traveling to Kentucky, where we're going to talk with a phenomenal agent. This agent has won all of the sales awards, Agency Achievement Award, Leaders Forum, Circle of Champions, Honoring, National Conference, you name it, he has won it. And it doesn't stop with sales. He's also heavily involved in his community, giving back. This is a good young agent that I am proud to call my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please give me a warm wind down welcome to Thomas Allen. Thomas, what's going on?
Hey, man, how are you, Kev?
I'm good, my brother. How you doing? You doing okay?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the introduction. I appreciate it. I had to wind back and remember all those things. I am doing some things.
You're doing some things in the middle of the grind. You can lose track of the things you've done because we always tunnel vision on what we have to do next. But take a minute and pat yourself on the back because you are doing it. So, Thomas, normally I jump right into the businessman, but I want to pick up the sports talk we was having. What is your outlook for your Los Angeles Lakers? We're a couple of days after a couple of trades. How you feeling? We going for another ring? How you feeling about Luka? What's going on?
I feel good. I had that. I was gripped by that trade at like 3 a.m. or something in the morning, and had to get myself back to sleep. But I was sitting in bed like, how's this gonna work? It was such a blockbuster trade. But no, I really am encouraged. I'm really encouraged by LeBron and Luka working. Want to make sure we're okay on the second end. We just got a center. I really hate that we had to give up a really young gun that I really like, great shooter. But no, listen, this is my conspiracy theory that this will all magically work because some of the NBA ratings are down. And nothing works for the league like when the Lakers are winning and when the Lakers are on top. So log on to your betting websites and bet the house on the Lakers. You can quote me on that. If it doesn't pan out, delete this podcast. Delete this episode. But don't come for me in the comments. But no, I'm encouraged. So we'll see.
Oh man. Man, if you're talking conspiracy theory, if the fix was in for the Knicks, we'll give the NBA the ratings. So send some of that love that way. It's scary to have Luka and LeBron, their size, their basketball IQ, and their skill set, to have them together is scary, man. It's scary for the rest of the league.
Yeah, there's just not enough fix to put in for the New York Knicks to the Garden has other shows and stuff. There's other things to do with the Garden. So
it's still the greatest show on Broadway every day of the week. So
right.
Thomas, make it make sense. Born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville card grad. We're going to talk about Louisville in a second, but you root for the Lakers way out in Cali, and you root for my Yankees here in New York. How does that happen?
Yeah. So I caught on to baseball kind of late, and just the organization of everything going on with the Yankees, like it was right there, so prevalent in your face. I like the gear. Who doesn't love pinstripes? Jay-Z made the New York Yankee hat so famous, as he says. I always had that when I was, even before I was a Yankee fan. It's one of the first fitted caps I had. So I love them. And I think the Lakers. I think it was just Showtime and everything. I'm a very simple man, but I think I respect the flash everywhere else. And Yankees and the Lakers have never been short on any flash. So.
Well, people, that's proof positive that in sports you make better decisions than me. I love my local teams, my losers, no matter how often. I refuse to give myself permission to change my mind. Let's talk cards basketball before we get into insurance.
Sure.
Favorite Louisville Cardinal team, best memory?
Has to be 13 when we won the championship. Great year. It lined up for me because the first round was in Lexington, Kentucky. So it's an hour away from me. I also have an office down here in Lexington. I'm actually in my Lexington office. So it's an hour away from my house. And then the second round was in Indianapolis, which is an hour, 10 minutes away from my house. So we went to that round. And then the last one was in Atlanta, so 6 hours. So we consider that one big long vacation because every weekend we would go to it. So I literally got to see my team I grew up with, my alma mater, win all the games to win the national championship. So that was just so special to me. I'm not ashamed to admit I had a shirt that I wore that I did not wash through the whole thing. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Superstitious.
I was then. We just kept winning. Funny thing is, on our way to the national championship, we stopped to get something to eat, and I had a different shirt on. We left it in the car. My wife, who didn't believe necessarily in it, we had got all the way to the stadium because I guess I had another Louisville shirt on, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot the shirt.
Yes.
And keep in mind, the parking garage is like 10 minutes away. She's like, what? So she wasn't about to tempt fate at all. So we went. So I ran back 10 minutes. I was in amazing shape. I ran back 10 minutes and then, and ran back. And I had the shirt and we won a championship. So her not, she was not superstitious, but she wasn't about to tempt fate. And thankfully, I would have never been able to live with that if we would have lost, and I would have thought what could have been. So
it would have been your fault. So help me out. We're going to pivot to insurance in a minute. 13 team. Rick Pitino's the coach?
Yes, that was Rick.
Who's the best player on that team?
Russ Smith, without a doubt. He was
That's what I thought.
National Player of the Year, New Yorker, right?
Yeah, and a New York coach. I knew the New York connection. I knew it. I was guessing. Okay, so Russ Smith, 2 New Yorkers carry Louisville. That's a beautiful thing. So here you are. I don't know all of my geography in Kentucky. Sure. I've been there. I've been through there once. I've seen the Bluegrass State. It's beautiful. But you have an office in Louisville and one in Lexington, which I believe, if I'm watching enough sports, is the home of the Wildcats. So my question is, do you have Louisville Cards paraphernalia in the Lexington office? Because that might be politically incorrect.
Well, here in Kentuckiana, we respect and love all of the views of all of our constituents and residents within the state. So we don't, as an agency, we don't pick sides. We love each and every one of our customers, and we'd never choose a specific team one over the next one. So
I love it, man. That's the most politically correct answer you could possibly give. Let's dive into insurance, man. Tell me what you love about being an Allstate agent.
I just love. I mean, there's a lot to really like, but I think it has to come down to just a great quality of life. I do think that. I've been very blessed. We've traveled with Allstate and some trips. We've actually traveled because of Allstate, right? The business we were able to build, the opportunity that we have. So myself, my wife, like we love what we've built together over these years. Celebrating year 10 later in the year, so we're very happy about where we came from. So.
I love it. I love it. Thomas, what's your background? What did you do before Allstate? And
so
how did you get into Allstate?
Sure. If you give me some leeway, I have an interesting story, I believe.
Sure. Take your time.
Yeah, I graduated college with a marketing degree in 2011, again from Louisville, and still height of the financial crisis, recession, hard to find a professional position I wanted. In Louisville, there's two major companies here that was kind of a part of the local dream of getting the middle class, which is GE and Ford. I got hired at GE. I was trying to get to the professional side. I was working in manufacturing, but the division of labor was very different, right? There was the union, and then I thought I had the accolades, but very difficult to get to that side. So, I, I was wondering, when am I going to find my opportunity? But online, I just kept seeing all these insurance shops. So one day I had already had a property and casualty book actually in my closet that I had got like 5 or 6 years prior that somebody told me I should look into it. So I have a bunch of times in life where I decided to jump off the porch and take a chance and bet on myself. And this was one. So I put my 2 weeks in, and had a little bit of money saved, and I decided to teach myself insurance. No class, I taught myself. And when I made this decision, as I do with a few, my girlfriend, wife now, she always says the same thing: as long as you got a plan. If you're gonna change it up, as long as you got a plan. So I always put together a plan. And so I went to University of Louisville Library, where I've studied for all my major stuff. I've studied for my I studied for my 6 and 63 down there. I have a spot. It's a comfort zone for me. So I I studied PNC for 2 weeks in that library, took my test, passed it, got an offer from a State Farm agent. But I didn't like, I didn't see anybody in the office. I turned down that offer. A couple of weeks later, that savings is getting lower. Went for an interview with an Allstate agent, the exact same offer, but I decided to take it. So
wow.
Yeah, a year and a half later, I had an agency of my own. So it's kind of weird. First off, nobody learns insurance usually themselves. They usually get a job and they teach you insurance. And the second thing, just not taking the offer and then taking the next offer, and just how God's plan for me, and just really blessed.
So there's an obvious question I have to ask. It's going to help a lot of agents out there, a lot of business people. Same offer, same amount of money, whatever it was. Hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
Yeah. So, this guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh, man. Well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carroll Media. DJ, I got to go. I got to get back to the podcast.
I know.
What resonated in your spirit? 2 wonderful companies, right? I always refer to State Farm as my most respected competitor. What resonated in your spirit to take the Allstate offer versus the State Farm offer?
I can first tell you what didn't resonate in my bank account, and that was when the savings was getting low, and but that was a part of the issue. But that was a part of the course of action. But the agency owner was solid. I saw people in the office. Of course, you can have a license but not still know what the day-to-day is. But I think I felt comfortable there as well. I didn't know the comfort level was different with the State Farm agent and not seeing anybody. So, but yeah.
I mean, that's huge, because all of us countrywide, we're all recruiting at all times. And that's something we don't think about. We think if we have the right offer, the right mix between a strong base and a decent commission opportunity, they'll work for us. But there's something else in the human spirit that each person is looking for in a job that is a place to call home, because we work more than we're at home. So that being said, 2-part question. Are you hiring now? And what does the ideal candidate look like for you, whether it's the Louisville office or Lexington? What do you look for in people so you could find the next Thomas Allen or the next person that's going to fit like a glove in your agency?
Yeah. So yeah, we're hiring. We're to an extent always hiring. Back when I was in restaurant management, my boss used to always say, we're always hiring to replace our weakest link.
Ooh,
I don't
whoa.
necessarily can't necessarily have that philosophy, right? You have great people, but I think that kind of illustrates just, hey, we're always trying to set the bar higher, and so yeah, we're hiring. When I look for a candidate, it's really coachability. That's what it always comes down to. Can you be
Yes.
coached? My motto in life is I'm trying to get 1% better every day. I tell all
Yes.
my team members that we have that conversation. We actually we have a morning meeting every day, and I end the morning meeting after we've talked about something of relevance with, okay, and I hope you got 1% better today. So I say that to folks in the interview. I want to help you get 1% better professionally and personally. If we can help you get there too, right? We care about both. So I believe in continuous improvement. Probably the manufacturing background, continuous improvement, Cayenne, the Toyota manufacturing system, just continuously getting better and um, striving for more. So that's it's all comes down to coachability. Hey, can you take in this information, right, and actually put it into place? Michael Jordan, if I could say this, Michael
Yes.
Jordan, they asked him if he needed a coach. He said, "Of course I need a coach, right?" He
Yes.
actually had a legendary coach. He said, "I
Yes.
needed a coach because you can't see you can't see everything, right? You can be a great player, but you can't see everything, and you need somebody to help you push you when that motivation might not be there. And we all have those periods of time. So I want those players who want to be coached, want to find, hey, you can get a 1% edge by saying this versus that, or change this word up versus this, or use this tactic versus that tactic, right? So coachability, without a
No, I
doubt.
agree. I love it. You mentioned Michael Jordan's legendary coach, Phil Jackson, that we all know. I like Michael Jordan's other coach as well. I'm a big fan of Tim Grover. I've read his books and what he did for Michael off the court, which he in turn did for Kobe, and now he's doing in the business space.
Relentless, all right?
Yes,
Think,
Relentless.
yep,
Absolutely. Two
I love
books.
that book. Yep.
Two books that he wrote that's definitely worth reading. Thomas, you hit a lot, man. You said you got into baseball late, but today you caught the pitch right over the plate. You knocked it out the park with that answer. We good there.
Nice.
So talk to me that stretch, Kentucky, Louisville, Lexington. One of the conversations I'm having with everybody is that each local agent is important because natural disasters that hit this country are different depending on location. California had the wildfire a few weeks ago. New York, we're water-based. What are the natural disasters that come to the Kentucky area that you need to make sure your clients are prepared for and that they have these one or two coverages so that on the worst day of their life, they're going to be happy that they got insurance from your agency?
Yeah, so excellent question. We're actually seeing just so many more wind events, so tornadoes. Here, and a lot of consumers in Kentucky don't realize it, but we've had the tornado alley shift quite. It's shifted a lot, quite dramatically, actually, away from just Oklahoma, and we're seeing a lot more wind events. We've had some. We've had a ton of catastrophes, some in different sizes, right? But we had massive tornadoes in Mayfield, Kentucky. That made a lot of national news because of some of the strength of the strength of the tornado, and so that was a big one. But we're also seeing just random wind events in all parts of Kentucky, and Louisville, we had I've seen some of the craziest pictures I've ever seen about a year ago or so, right around this time, where all the trees going through people's homes. There's if you were in the tree service business, like I think it was like 5 weeks out that they were telling people. It was
Yeah.
that was a lot, and we have a huge population, a big contingent of that business here. But The wind events are what is most important. I think wind coverage, especially roof-related coverage, because that's where wind hits, making sure consumers understand their coverage on their roof, right? It's insurance agents' job to advise the clients of, hey, here's coverages, here are deductibles, what's going to make sense for you, and tell them, hey, this may not make sense if it's too high, right? I have some clients who said, okay, I want a $5,000 deductible so I can make the rate lower. Okay, well, you want a lower rate. Now, is that going to work if something happens? Do you have $5,000 to help pay for that? Well, no, I don't. Well, do you see how that's a situation that could happen, right? So it's, consumers want to balance the price with the coverage, and that's just value, right?
Yes.
So we just want to make sure consumers understand, hey, there is value in making sure you have the correct coverages, because no client has ever, you could probably say the same. No client has ever in the history of claims been going through a claim situation, called you for a claim situation, and said, hey, Kevin, what am I paying on my insurance?
Never.
You know why? Because it doesn't matter.
Yes.
The question is, am I covered or not? And that's why we want to make sure that the correct wind coverage, especially wind and hail deductibles, whatever replacement cost provisions are present, or at least the consumer understands their financial responsibility if that happens.
No, that's the beautiful part of the shared risk business. The easy way out of that question is raise the deductible and lower the price. But I love to hear that you and your agency are taking the next step and adding value locally to say, are you, do you have $5,000 with nobody's name on it? You want to handle this risk by yourself.
Sure.
That helps people understand what we're doing in a big picture, not just locally. So, hey, Ray, what's up? I'm in the middle of shooting a podcast here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. I'm talking to a couple of my guys. They're struggling with all this new stuff, man. It's taking them 20, 30 minutes to fill out a quote sheet.
That's way too long, man. I think we can help.
You sure, man? They're trying to do different stuff. They're trying to do like X-Day campaigns. They're cross-selling. They want to follow with people they meet at networking events.
Yeah, well, Canopy Connect, you just send them a link. What is that? You can text it to them. You can put it on your business card as a QR code, scan that up, and all they have to do is click on that link, find their carrier, their insurance carrier, and sign into it. And we're gonna go in and grab all the information you need to get a quote, all their policy information, their deck pages, drivers, vehicles, and enrich that with property data. We get all that stuff, right? So you don't have to spend 30 minutes on the call. It's all easy.
Well, shut the front door. Enough said. Guys, you heard it right here. Stop going old school. Use Canopy Connect. Thanks, Ray. I got to get back to the podcast.
Got it. See you.
Thomas, talk to me about...
They probably could get the property insurance Bible, and that might bring some clarity to them as well. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
I heard about it. I heard there was some book that was out there, but if I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, I'd rather talk to you than me about your insurance. Can I make you laugh? I was today years old when I learned about the Tornado Alley. So I talked to an agent earlier, Brooke Brolo from Arkansas. She mentioned it. And now you're further up north in Kentucky. You're mentioning it. So Tornado Alley is not mentioned in the property insurance Bible. And that's what's important about the value of the local agent. You know something there that big box companies, 1-800 numbers and .coms simply don't know. It may be cheaper, and it's definitely going to be cheaper because it's going to have less value. And I noticed the inflection in your voice that you said in value. So I can hear you teaching your team and making sure you're strong on differentiating these coverages, because for a certainty, you and I are not in California. We didn't handle any of those claims, but certainly no one was worried about what they paid for insurance. They just wanted to know whether they had a policy and how quickly are you going to help me put my life back together the way it was before yesterday. So, Thomas, we're talking general. Give me a story, a claim story of someone. You're coming up on your 10th anniversary where you gave that sage advice, they accepted your advice, and their lives got put back together because they listened. And maybe it's a story where someone was a little bit hesitant of buying the recommended coverages, but they listened to you. So what comes to mind when I say that?
Sure. So I have a story of a friend of mine actually. Was one of the in my tailgating group. He was buying a home. I believe it may be their first home. I'm not sure, but we were running the quote. We were taking a look. I was in contact with a mortgage broker, and he had a certain amount that he wanted to spend. Obviously, just being a consumer, being cognizant of things, and I was putting the quote together for him. Then I saw a couple claims on the policy. They were both water claims. I think it was 2 water claims, and policies cover water, but there's something called water backup. That's always an additional coverage. Not everyone needs it, but I advised him, hey, this is a new property you're buying, so these claims aren't yours. But something you should know of is there were 2 water claims that were filed here in the last 3 years on the policy. Not only this is important because this may represent a water-related issue that you could have as a homeowner later. So to a certain extent, I was actually advising him, hey, this before you buy the house, you know what I mean?
Right.
And let's make sure you have the right coverage. So I then recommended water backup coverage at a higher limit, actually the highest limit, because I also saw the amount of those claims. So I knew the severity was higher than kind of a smaller amount. So he was very hesitant. He went back and forth. He had a conversation with his wife, I believe, and she didn't want it. But I was diligent because, again, I'm trying to make sure you understand that my advice is sage, and I'm not providing you this additional advice without merit. So he finally took it. Not 6 months later did they have an event where did they have a water related event. Turns out probably just needed a new sump pump, and that was what the issue was. But I'm so glad that I recommend that coverage, because that was a situation he would have handled on his own. So that is by definition the advantage of a local agent. A 1-800 number agent is going to was going to see the claims and just scroll past them, because they're not trained to have the comfort of someone who's going to be in their community who they're going to have to see and talk to. They'll never talk to that person ever again. So,
and not to mention, you probably could recommend 1 or 2 people that can help get that done and get the water out of the house. Let's pivot from insurance for a second. You mentioned your friend group, the tailgating parties.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I watched what you post on Facebook. I seen y'all go down to Vegas. You're at the games. What do it take to be a part of your posse? Talk to me about the group. What's the group that holds y'all together? I'd like to go to an SEC football game. I've never been there before. ACC, yeah. So talk to me about your French group. What's the glue that holds the group together?
So we have a huge friend group. So I had my 40th birthday last year, and everybody went to Vegas to celebrate my birthday. I think we had 52 people. Nice. There's a core group, and then there's a lot of other friends and family members, but we do have a really big friend group, and as we get this question very often, I could put a good word in for you, but it would have to go before the committee, as they say. But no, we're just a bunch of folks who like to have fun. The majority of us are Louisville fans. We like to just have a good time, and we once a year we go on a vacation somewhere tropical. So a lot of folks are like, you plan the group trip. It starts out with 100 people, and then it's just you and your significant other. Like, that never happens to us. Like, our trips make it out of the group chat every time. So wow. It's just what helps that we have a friend who's a travel agent, so that it's very simplistic and easy for us. We're just good folks. I think it's usually hard to find a collection of folks without malice or envy or drama, and that's just not us. So we're very blessed in that respect.
So 52 of y'all went to Vegas, your 40th birthday. Happy belated. Y'all had a good time. But there's no movie coming out. There's no Hangover 2, 3, or 4 coming from that movie. Good fun, drama free.
The revolution will not be televised. Some things are left in the group chat. So
I love it. I love it. Your friends from this group is going to listen to this. So I know you're sworn to secrecy, but I got to laugh. You're making me think of one of the funniest people I'm watching videos on right now. Devarian Jabal. I'm going to mess up his name, but he did a video. It's always himself talking back and forth to himself, but it's always like that one friend that you can't travel with. You're doing something tropical. And every time we want a jet ski, oh, that's $20. We could do jet ski back in the crib for $12. Or man, we can get a beer back in the room. We can. So y'all don't have none of those friends in the group?
Yeah, we can't do that. That'll get you excommunicated. You get excommunicated from the group. It's not like too extravagant and lavish. We do have some fun resorts that we that have some perks and stuff. But it's we usually it's a trip that we have a year to plan for. So everybody makes the the needed sacrifices and such. So
to be there, well, do me a favor. Somebody's listening to this that wish their friend group can roll. So shout out the travel agent and just mention 2 or 3 of the destinations that y'all been to. Who's the travel agent? Who's making this happen?
It's Jason Harris with Dean's Traveling Events, and he's an amazing travel agent. We went to Punta Cana. They got back from Aruba. Cap Cana is where I think we went to the last time. Obviously the Bahamas. We've took cruise ships to the Bahamas. I know I'm just massacring things, but that's at least some of the trips we do. And most of us are Louisville fans. We do impromptu weekend trips or scheduled weekend trips to different places to watch the games and such. So. And
Jason got it. Jason getting everybody together.
Jason
Airbnb,
getting everybody.
Verbo, right hotel, right place. Big shout out to Jason. Jason, throw it in the comments, whatever he forgot. This will be broadcast a little bit. This will be broadcast a little bit later.
Sure.
Let's come back to the business for a second. 2 places, Louisville, Lexington. You're marketing, promoting, building business, hiring people. Talk to me about your digital presence and how important your digital presence is so that people can find you.
Excellent. And I know this is your area that you really excel in. Actually, part of my presence is Carroll Media. They actually did my web work. So I have the website with them that really designed beautifully and explains all of the products that we have in place. So that's helpful. One of the things we're really working on is, especially in this new world where everything begins online, and I think the stats are at 70% plus begin their insurance search online. So we want to be where people can find us, and the time is always right now. So we're doing a lot of work with that. Earlier in my career, we didn't have the emphasis we do now on Google reviews, but yes. The consumers now need social proof, right? That's why they ask their friends, family, and Facebook in the comments, hey, who does insurance? Who does this, right? I want to be at the very top with social proof, showing that we're a respectable business. If you have 1,000 Google reviews and 4.9 average, I don't think anyone's going to question how you do business, right? So that's social proof. It's visual. It can't be faked, and people usually go in the conversation feeling a lot better as well, right? There's a natural apprehension when you're calling someone for insurance or doing some business professionally that you may have not done before. That actually helps the conversations as well, as what we've noticed when some of the feedback we've got from consumers. So digital is huge. We're trying to be there, and we're doing a lot of work with our presence and making sure we're doing well with our SEO.
No, that's a beautiful thing and a beautiful answer. And you're right. You want to be where the eyeballs are. And everything that you're doing all feeds into that. If you segue back to the travel conversation and what you're doing with your friend group, every decision that's made in another city, the restaurant that you eat at, the place where you go for beverages, you're looking for a place with an ambiance, with some Google reviews and a website. So once that's right, the decision is made for the consumer. So that's like critically important, because once you're there, you're not leaving that place. You're staying in that place. You're taking it all in.
Yes.
So Thomas, you have a phenomenal life motto on your Facebook page. I'm going to read it. I want you to react to it. Your life motto is life rewards the go-getters.
Yes. So I believe I coined that phrase. It's just, I am a person who believes that I can do anything. Like, I don't believe that there's any guardrails or strings or anything that'll hold me back. So I'm an incredibly ambitious and motivated person. That's just me. So I've made that my life motto, and it's helped me to push forward and persevere through things that, challenges as a business owner, any personal challenges that I've been through. So yeah, it's been very helpful. I'll actually share this. I strained a tendon in my ankle, and I have been down for like 6 months. Like, I was on crutches initially. I was zooming around the house in my office chair a little bit, and I was in a boot. And that's being a go-getter mover, and I'm a gym rat. It was very difficult for me, but I had to really put in my mind that, hey, it's time to get going. I've done crazy fitness challenges like 75 hard, and I had to ask myself, while you're not doing this, where's your motivation? You're not the person that you were. So that quote's always harkened back to, like, go and do something. Go and do something, a crazy challenge or something. I'm starting to walk again better, and I'm walking around the neighborhood. I just jumped into a version of 75 hard, and I was outside, and it was pouring down, raining. I remember, this is the stuff that's hard and tough that you want. It's crazy that I can do something hard and tough versus doing something easy.
Yes.
But the life reward the go-getters motto is like, hey, if I want it, I got to go get it. I need to, and challenges remind me of that versus kind of staying stagnant, which is a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah, you want to avoid comfort. But where does that come from? Where does that come from? Does it come from faith, come from family, come from who you are? What is the core of that makes up this driven mindset?
Yeah, I think I just took it serious when they said, like, you can do whatever you want when you grow up. Like, I took it too serious. And
That's good.
I saw all these images. I love television. I actually think that it taught me a lot of dialogue when I was younger, just seeing conversations and understanding things. And I think I just saw all these images of different people and different lifestyles and achievement. And so I'm kind of voracious and learning about really successful people and audiobooks and some reading of books about topics I'm interested in. But I really just like to see folks measure of success and the steps that they took. And in most of those books and those paths that they had, it all just ended up being a bunch of hard work. So
yes.
Most of those folks say, I'm not the smartest. That's like the first thing that they said.
Yes.
So when it's about hard work, that's something that's not unique to any person. You don't have to have the intellect to work hard, right? The hard work's be talent if the talent don't work hard. So yeah.
Love that saying, man. I want to go someplace else, but I can't let you say that you did 75 hard without asking you about the experience. I know a lot of people that started 75 hard. I don't know a lot that finished. So talk about the journey, the decision to do it, and what did you learn about yourself in that 75 hard journey?
Yeah, I learned a lot. It was crazy. 75 days diet, no alcohol. I'm from Kentucky, so I'm like contractually and legally required to say something about bourbon. but no, I learned really that I could do something really tough, and that's what the challenge was about for me in the very beginning. I always liked fitness, but um, it taught me that I could do something really tough. I think I lost like 24 pounds or something,
Nice.
and was in just amazing shape, um, and we're getting back to that. But it taught me that I actually was having fun. One day it dropped to like 1 degree, and I to get my two workouts, I start in the morning. So I'm like 5 a.m. I'm outside, and it was like 1 degree, and I have my Timbs on, and I'm out there. Can't walk too much because I don't want to fall on any ice. But I'm measured in my steps and walking in my snow-covered grass. So I'm just doing laps and then doing some jumping jacks and stuff. And I kind of fell in love with it.
Yes.
Uh, I'm David Goggins
Yes.
talks about that, having a calloused mind, and that was one of the many audio books I was reading along with some actual books. But just having a callous mind, and it was like, well, this kind of sucks, but it's kind of fun because
Yeah.
it's a weird dynamic, but it was actually. It was absolutely that, because I was like, man, when I get to the other side of this thing, think of what I'm gonna be able to say I accomplished. And
Yes.
so yeah, it was a very good life checkbox for me to say that I can be that strong, that disciplined, and push myself mentally to get to the other side. So
No, I love it, man. I couldn't let you say that without asking.
yeah.
So Thomas, you and I have gotten to know each other from networking. We've shown up at the same conferences together. How important is networking in this business to get out of your own agency and to network with other agents that are successful or maybe doing things a little bit different than what you're doing so you can learn and grow from them?
No, it's everything. I've actually studied and listened and talked to a lot of agents. I'm always looking, I talked about getting 1% better. I'm always looking for whatever edge that I can get. The best direct mail person, I want to talk to him. The best
Mhm.
data leads person, the best data lead analytics, the best networking with mortgage and realtors and such. I want to talk to them. So I really want to talk to all the folks in our industries who have who've done it before. I always say this, right? We always in society we look at wisdom, right? Wisdom is just a collection of years of trial and error and people going through mistakes. I can find that wisdom, but it might take me 10 years and something. Let me talk to somebody who actually has some wisdom in that particular subject, and that can help me and shave the time that I won't that I don't have because we have to act right now, right? So I've always had that type of mind state that I want to try to shortcut the wisdom and gain that wisdom from the folks that have already made those mistakes. One of the craziest things in business is when you notice a mistake that you made, but it's like 4 months later, you notice something. In business school they said, is it the problem or is it the symptom? Right? Is it the
Yes.
symptom of the problem? And I think sometimes we will see things and think this is the problem, when in reality it's a symptom. And then we
Yes.
realize what the problem is. But it's like 4 or 5 months later, and we're like, wow, if I would have just been able to have the vision to see that, I could have stopped it. So that's why I try to talk to other folks. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing that you can shave off a lot of time for me.
That is wisdom. Where does that come from? Your knowledge to seek wisdom as opposed to the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah, it's just trying to get that 1% better. I can't do it alone. I mean, you know, there's so many in our industry. There's so many ways of skinning a cat. Me and my
Mhm.
buddy, who's kind of an accountability partner for me and me for him, I for him. And um, there's agents that are great with this or great with that, or they run this model. Another buddy of mine in Florida says, he says, do you want sailors or do you want Navy SEALs? I
Whew.
want, as far as salespeople, right? I want Navy SEALs. I want the best and
Yes.
brightest who are coachable, who can understand. He says he'd rather have sailors, and he says sailors work because sometimes they're easier to train. You have his certain standards recommend work with having sailors. So there's just so many different ways to skin a cat. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything, right? It's kind of like, leaving something on the table. I don't want to leave something on the table that I could have enacted and put into place now versus later. Sometimes you try to put stuff in place after the fact, and the human capital, your team or your
Yeah.
process and procedures, they just won't allow for it anymore,
Yeah.
right? But you don't get the adoption that you want. So it comes from a place where I want to get the knowledge now, so I can get better right now, and I know that everything's evolving, so I have to be open to being evolved.
No, man. No, that is an amazing answer. That's a jewel right there. You dropped a whole bunch of them that's going to benefit a lot of people. As we wind down and go into the final stretch, after your 75 hard, after a hard work day, after the friend group, how do you wind down at the end of the day? How do you decompress from everything you deal with as a business owner?
Yeah, so I do like exercise. That's exercise plays a really key role in my mental health, because I need that endorphin, and those endorphins that keeps me going, keeps me pushing. There's a level of clarity I think you get once you start sweating, and it almost feels enlightening sometimes. It's the runner's high they talk about, right? So I like getting to that when I can. But it's that, and definitely the bourbon. That too. I'm a simple man. I like a lot of different things, but Woodford Reserve is
Okay.
I'm very simple for that. But we have a bunch of different bourbons, but I go for the easy stuff. So
Woodford Reserve in an old fashioned, neat on the rocks.
yeah, I'll do it in old fashioned. I'll do it on the rocks. That's fine. So yeah,
I got you. I know what we're doing when I come to Kentucky.
come on.
Close us out like this. You have so many encouraging words. So, name of the podcast is Wind Down with Kev, but it's also called the Dream Chaser Podcast. Can you just give some encouraging words to somebody that's out there to listen to this? Maybe they want to be an Allstate agent. Maybe they want to work for you. Maybe they want to do something different, but they're in that place where they can't see their way out of it. So if you can give them some encouraging words to chase their dream, I would appreciate it.
Sure. I think, what's happened for me, and whenever I've ever had tough times in business, and sometimes it's ups and downs. As we always say, business is ebbs and flows. And I tell my salespeople this, the truth is in the middle, never too high, never too low. The truth is in the middle. So I would just tell people that this too shall pass. That situation that you're in, wherever that may be, or you're trying to find your direction, you feel a little lost. I mean, admittedly, a lot of people would admit that they've been there too. They've had imposter syndrome. Some of the most successful people have had imposter syndrome. The people who have felt lost for a second. I think you just have to take that feeling and figure out a course of action out of it. Right? Okay, so I'm feeling this way, and I think I know why. It's because of all of these different circumstances that are happening, right? And you got to know it, acknowledge it, and understand your role in those circumstances, because a lot of it is because of our role, right? And then try to figure out, okay, what's the path forward? Like my wife says, as long as you got a plan. So what is your plan? And then figure out the steps that it takes to execute. I'm going to write the stuff down on notebook paper. I love a notebook. We don't have scratch piece of papers or notepads in my office. When those people walk in the office to give us stuff, I throw them away. I have notebooks for you. Put your thoughts on the notebook. You can never lose them. And so yeah, I'm going to write a plan down. I'm going to figure out the steps it takes to execute it, and then I'm going to execute it. Smart goals are good ways to do that, and just be strategic about it, and then and see where you're at. But if you wrote that stuff down, and you don't follow those steps, perhaps there's some external factors, but if you don't follow those steps, you just lied to yourself. Write the stuff down, put X, and sign it with a signature. I've done that before as well. So I just entered myself into a legal contract with myself. I need to do this. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Allen with some major sage advice. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching this on live stream, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. If you're watching it later or listening to it on your favorite podcast platform, thank you. If you like this kind of content, please click on the link below to subscribe to @Wind Down with Kev. Big thank you to my sponsors, Carol Media and Canopy Connect. Can't do it without you, and we can't do it without them. Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Allen.